Life is a series of mysteries, some of which we cannot unravel with human logic alone. Among these mysteries is the question of justice. Why do the wicked prosper? Why do the cruel seem to thrive while the kind-hearted are left to suffer? These questions linger in our minds like shadows, reminding us of the pain inflicted by others and the seeming silence of justice in the moment. You've been there, haven't you? Hurt, betrayed, or broken by someone who seemed to walk away unscathed, leaving you to pick up the pieces. There are nights when the wounds ache louder than any words of comfort. You lie awake, replaying every hurtful word, every betrayal, every act of injustice. The pain they caused you wasn't just physical or emotional, it scarred your very spirit. And yet they carried on, seemingly untouched by the consequences of their actions. It's maddening, isn't it? The thought that someone could hurt you so deeply and live as if it meant nothing. But let me tell you something, there is a higher justice at work, one that sees beyond what human eyes can perceive. This isn't about revenge, it's not about wishing harm upon anyone, but about understanding a divine law that governs the universe. You might not see it now, but there is a reckoning for every action under the sun. Every tear you've cried, every silent scream you've held back has been witnessed. And the same pain they caused you will one day visit them, not because you desire it, but because it is an unchangeable law of existence. The scales will be balanced, even if it takes longer than you'd like. Picture this, someone who wronged you is living their life, smiling, laughing, and thriving. You wonder, where is God's justice in this? How can they be rewarded while I am left with these broken pieces? But justice doesn't always strike when we expect it or in the way we imagine. Sometimes it comes quietly, without fanfare, touching every corner of a life that seemed untouchable. It doesn't come because we demanded it. It comes because God's laws are unshakable, His timing perfect. I know what you're thinking, but how do I hold on until then? How do I keep faith when it feels like the world is mocking my pain? You hold on because your pain is not in vain. You hold on because divine justice is not bound by the ticking of a clock. And most importantly, you hold on because you trust that God will work everything for your good, even the things that seem to shatter you. So, don't be consumed by anger or bitterness. Don't let the desire for revenge become your master. Instead, focus on this truth: God is not mocked. Whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. The pain they inflicted will come full circle, not because of your will, but because of His divine justice. Stay with me, because what I am about to share next will not only reaffirm your faith in divine justice, but will also help you see how to navigate the storm you are in. There is a way to walk through this pain without letting it consume you, a way to trust God's justice without losing your own peace. It is a path not for the faint of heart, but for those who truly believe in the power of God's sovereignty. Let's uncover this path together. In the vast tapestry of existence, no thread goes unnoticed by the Creator. Every action, every word, every intention, whether spoken aloud or harbored in the silent corners of a heart, is seen and weighed. This truth should not only bring comfort but also conviction. You may feel as though your pain is invisible, your cries drowned out by the noise of a world too preoccupied with itself. But rest assured, the one who created you has not turned a blind eye to your suffering. Imagine a world where every deed is etched into eternity, where nothing is erased or forgotten. That is the reality we live in. When someone inflicts harm, their actions ripple through time, their consequences recorded in the fabric of life. And the justice of God, though sometimes delayed in our eyes, never misses its mark. It moves with precision, aligning itself with the greater purpose He has designed. The betrayal you endured, the pain someone caused, they may believe they escaped accountability. But here's the truth: their actions were not hidden. Every tear you shed is known, every moment of despair counted. God sees not only the act, but the motive behind it. He sees the intent, the malice, the indifference. And His justice is not clouded by the limitations of human understanding. It is pure, righteous, and unerring. In your moments of doubt, remember that God's silence is not indifference. His patience is not a sign of neglect, but a testament to His mastery over time and purpose. He allows events to unfold not for the perpetrator's benefit, but often for your growth and ultimate redemption. He sees what you cannot, what lies ahead, the lessons within the pain, and the strength that will emerge from your endurance. To trust that God sees everything is to release the need to constantly seek validation or vengeance. It is to live with the confidence that no act of kindness, no moment of perseverance, and no instance of wrongdoing will ever go unnoticed. This trust fuels resilience because you know that even when the world overlooks you, God's gaze never wavers. Timing is the canvas upon which God paints the masterpiece of justice. In our impatience, we often cry out, "Why not now?" We want immediate resolutions, instant vindication. But God's timing operates on a scale far beyond our comprehension. It isn't governed by the ticking hands of a clock or the passing days on a calendar. His timing is measured against eternity, woven perfectly into the grand design of your life. Think of a seed planted in fertile soil. It doesn't sprout the moment it is buried. It lies hidden beneath the surface, while forces unseen work to bring it to life. This is how God's justice operates. What appears to be inactivity is actually preparation. The soil is being tilled, the roots are stretching, and the harvest is being arranged. The pain you've endured is not forgotten, nor is it being ignored. It is simply waiting for the appointed moment. Now consider this: if justice came too soon, would it achieve its full purpose? If those who wronged you faced their consequences immediately, would they truly understand the weight of their actions? God's timing ensures that justice is not only served but transformative. It reaches not just the perpetrator but also the hearts of those impacted, including you. It shapes, refines, and strengthens. Divine timing teaches us patience, but it also teaches us trust. It requires surrender of control, of the need to see immediate results, and of the desire to dictate outcomes. This surrender is not weakness, it is the ultimate form of strength. It is a declaration that you believe in a justice higher than your own, in a power that sees beyond what is visible. And while you wait, don't mistake God's timing for stagnation. The waiting period is active. It is a time of preparation. He is aligning circumstances, molding you, and readying your spirit for the blessings to come. The delay is not denial, it is refinement. Every second is purposeful, every moment intentional. When you anchor yourself in the certainty of divine timing, you are no longer swayed by the actions or inactions of others. You rise above the noise, refusing to let impatience or bitterness take root. You live with the assurance that the same God who created time itself holds every second of your life in His hands, orchestrating it to perfection. This understanding transforms your pain into power. You no longer need to carry the burden of wondering when or how. Instead, you walk forward with the confidence that the one who sees all will act at the perfect moment. And when He does, the justice you long for will not just satisfy your heart, it will fulfill His divine purpose. The principle of sowing and reaping is as immutable as the rising of the sun. What you plant, you will harvest. This universal law governs not only the physical world, but also the moral and spiritual realms. Every choice, every action, every word spoken carries within it a seed, one that will eventually grow and bear fruit, whether good or bad. When someone hurts you, betrays you, or causes you pain, they are planting seeds of their own destruction. They may not realize it at the time. In fact, they may walk away with a sense of triumph, believing they have gained something at your expense. But the seeds they've sown are already in the ground, taking root in the unseen dimensions of life. And just as a farmer cannot prevent a seed from growing once planted, they cannot escape the consequences of their actions. This law works slowly, silently. It doesn't demand attention or make a spectacle of itself. The seeds sown in malice grow just as surely as those sown in love. But the fruit they produce will reflect their nature: bitter, poisonous, and destructive. Those who have caused you pain are not exempt from this law, no matter how invincible they may seem. Their actions have set a chain of events in motion that cannot be undone. What's important for you to understand is this: you don't need to water their seeds with your anger or nurture them with your bitterness. The law will do its work without your interference. Focus on the seeds you are sowing instead. Are you planting forgiveness, resilience, and growth? Or are you planting hatred and despair in response to the pain you've endured? The harvest you reap will be determined by the seeds you choose to plant today. So let them sow their seeds of harm, for their harvest is inevitable. But choose wisely for yourself. Plant seeds of strength, faith, and love, knowing that your own harvest will come, abundant and beautiful, in its time. The law of sowing and reaping ensures that justice will be served not just to them but to you as well. Trust in it, and focus on becoming the person who thrives in the light of their own harvest. Bitterness is a silent thief, creeping into your heart and robbing you of the joy, peace, and blessings meant for you. When someone causes you pain, it's natural to feel anger and resentment, but holding on to that bitterness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. It doesn't hurt them, it destroys you from the inside out. Bitterness is insidious. It starts small, like a whisper in your mind, reminding you of the wrongs done to you. But over time, it grows, taking root in your soul and entangling itself in every part of your life. It clouds your judgment, distorts your perspective, and hardens your heart. Instead of moving forward, you become trapped in the past, reliving the pain over and over again. But here's the truth. You cannot receive what God has for you while your hands are full of bitterness. Blessings require an open heart, one that is free to embrace the good things coming your way. Bitterness, on the other hand, closes you off, keeping you locked in a cycle of hurt and anger. It blinds you to the opportunities for growth and healing that lie ahead. Letting go of bitterness doesn't mean excusing what was done to you or pretending it didn't hurt. It means refusing to let that pain define you. It means reclaiming your power and choosing to rise above the actions of others. When you release bitterness, you make room for joy, peace, and the blessings God has prepared for you. You allow His justice to work in its fullness without your interference. Understand this: the pain they caused was real, but it doesn't have to own you. Bitterness might feel like a shield, protecting you from further harm, but in reality, it's a prison. The key to freedom is forgiveness, not for their sake, but for yours. When you let go, you break the chains that hold you back, stepping into the life God intended for you, unburdened and ready to receive the blessings that await. Trusting in God's plan requires an unshakable faith in the unseen. It demands that you relinquish control and accept that your life, every joy, every heartbreak, and every challenge is part of a greater story being written by the Creator. This is not an easy task, especially when you are in the midst of pain. When someone has wronged you and left you in turmoil, the immediate question arises, why did God allow this to happen? It's natural to want answers. You may feel that life has been unfair, that the weight of your suffering is too heavy to bear. But here's the truth: God's plan is never random or meaningless. Every experience, no matter how painful, is woven into the intricate design of your destiny. What seems like chaos to you is perfect order to Him. What feels like destruction is often the foundation for something greater being built in your life. Imagine a tapestry. When viewed from the back, it appears as a tangled mess of threads, knots, and colors that make no sense. But when you see it from the front, it reveals a masterpiece. This is how God's plan works. From your limited perspective, the pain inflicted by others may seem senseless, but from His view, it is a necessary part of the picture He is creating for you. Trusting God's plan means believing that He can turn what was meant to harm you into something that elevates you. Consider the story of Joseph in the Bible. Betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and wrongfully imprisoned, he could have been consumed by anger and bitterness. Instead, he trusted in God's plan. In time, the very actions intended to destroy him became the stepping stones to his destiny as a leader who saved countless lives. Your journey is no different. The betrayal, the hurt, and the injustice you've endured are not the end of your story. They are chapters that lead to your growth, resilience, and ultimate purpose. Trusting in God's plan means surrendering the need to understand why something happened and focusing instead on what He is preparing you for. When you trust God's plan, you shift your perspective from victimhood to empowerment. You stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What is this preparing me for?" This shift transforms pain into power, turning obstacles into opportunities. It allows you to walk forward with confidence, knowing that every step, no matter how difficult, is leading you toward the life God has designed for you. So trust that even the wrongs done to you have a place in His plan. Trust that He is working behind the scenes, aligning circumstances and preparing you for blessings that will outweigh the pain. Trust that His plan is perfect, even when you cannot see the full picture. And most importantly, trust that He is with you, guiding you and turning every hardship into a stepping stone toward your destiny. There's a common belief in the concept of karma, that what you give to the world, good or bad, will eventually come back to you. While karma resonates with many, it falls short of the completeness and righteousness of divine justice. Divine justice is not simply about balancing the scales, it is about fulfilling a purpose, correcting wrongs, and restoring order in a way that human understanding cannot fully grasp. When someone wrongs you, it's tempting to believe in the immediate cause and effect principle of karma. They hurt you and therefore they will be hurt in return. But divine justice operates on a higher plane. It is not reactionary or impulsive, it is deliberate, purposeful, and perfect in its execution. While karma may suggest that actions are repaid in kind, divine justice considers the entirety of the human spirit, intentions, growth, and redemption. Divine justice is rooted in the character of God, who is both merciful and just. This duality ensures that justice is not merely about punishment but about transformation. When someone causes you pain, divine justice works not only to hold them accountable, but also to create opportunities for change and redemption. It is not about vengeance but restoration, restoring balance, healing wounds, and aligning hearts with truth. Unlike karma, which is often seen as an impersonal force, divine justice is deeply personal. It is guided by the Creator, who knows every detail of your life, every tear you've shed, and every wound you've endured. His justice takes into account not only the actions of others but also your pain, your growth, and the greater purpose He has for you. It is tailored to your journey, ensuring that no harm done to you goes unanswered. But divine justice requires patience. It doesn't operate on human timelines or cater to our desire for immediate results. This can be difficult to accept, especially when you see those who wronged you seemingly thriving. You may wonder, where is the justice? When will they face the consequences? But remember, divine justice is not about quick fixes. It is about creating outcomes that align with God's perfect will. Consider this: if someone who hurt you is punished immediately, they may never understand the gravity of their actions or have the chance to change. Divine justice allows time for reflection, growth, and, if they choose it, redemption. It ensures that justice is not only served but also meaningful, impacting hearts and lives in ways that human justice cannot. At the same time, divine justice doesn't let anyone escape accountability. Those who refuse to acknowledge their wrongs or seek redemption will face the consequences of their actions. But these consequences are not meted out in spite or anger. They are the result of a law that is as unchanging as God Himself. What you sow, you will reap. What you give, you will receive. This is divine justice at work, perfect and infallible. Understanding the difference between karma and divine justice frees you from the need to monitor outcomes or wish harm upon those who hurt you. You don't need to worry about whether they will get what they deserve. That is not your burden to carry. Instead, focus on your own growth, healing, and the path God has set before you. Trust that His justice will prevail, not in the way you imagined, but in the way that is best for you and aligned with His perfect plan. Forgiveness is often misunderstood as a sign of weakness or surrender, but in reality it is the ultimate act of strength. When someone hurts you deeply, holding on to that pain can feel like the only way to maintain control. You think, if I let this go, I'm letting them win. But what if I told you that holding on to resentment doesn't control them, it controls you? Forgiveness isn't about excusing their actions or forgetting what they did. It's about reclaiming your power and setting yourself free from the chains of bitterness. Imagine carrying a heavy weight on your shoulders every single day. That weight represents your anger, resentment, and desire for vengeance. Over time, the weight doesn't lessen, it grows. It begins to infiltrate every area of your life, robbing you of joy, peace, and the ability to fully embrace the blessings in front of you. Forgiveness is the act of putting that weight down, of saying, I refuse to let their actions define me any longer. Forgiveness doesn't mean you agree with what was done to you. It doesn't mean you open the door for them to hurt you again. Instead, it means you choose to no longer let their actions have power over your life. Forgiveness is for you, not for them. It's the process of releasing the grip that anger and bitterness have on your heart, making space for healing, growth, and renewal. When you forgive, you align yourself with God's justice, not your own. You acknowledge that it's not your job to seek revenge or ensure they face the consequences. That's God's role, and His justice is far more complete and righteous than anything you could imagine. Forgiveness allows you to let go of the burden of seeking justice on your own, trusting that He will take care of it in His perfect timing. Forgiveness is a process, not a one-time event. It requires intentional effort and often feels like an uphill battle. But every step you take toward forgiving someone is a step toward reclaiming your peace. It's not about pretending the pain didn't happen. It's about choosing to rise above it. It's about saying, you hurt me, but you do not control me. I choose freedom over bitterness. I choose healing over hatred. Forgiveness is not just an act of kindness. It's a declaration of your strength. It says that you refuse to be defined by the actions of others, and that you trust God to handle what you cannot. When you forgive, you unlock the door to a life of peace, allowing yourself to move forward unburdened and ready to embrace the future He has prepared for you. Pain, though difficult to endure, is one of life's greatest teachers. Every wound, every betrayal, every hardship carries within it a lesson, a nugget of wisdom that can shape you into a stronger, wiser, and more resilient person. When someone causes you pain, it's natural to focus on the hurt and ask, why me? But what if the real question is, what is this teaching me? Pain strips away illusions and forces you to confront truths about yourself, others, and the world around you. It reveals your vulnerabilities, but it also uncovers your hidden strengths. It shows you where you need to grow and what you need to let go of. When someone wrongs you, the immediate reaction is often anger, sadness, or confusion. But beneath those emotions lies an opportunity to learn about forgiveness, resilience, and the power of letting go. Think about the times in your life when you've grown the most. Were they during moments of comfort and ease, or were they in the midst of struggle? Pain has a way of breaking you open, allowing light to pour into the darkest corners of your soul. It forces you to dig deep, to find strength you didn't know you had, and to rely on God in ways you never thought necessary. When someone hurts you, it's easy to dwell on the injustice and lose sight of the lessons within the pain. But if you take a step back, you'll see that every challenge carries with it a gift. The betrayal you experienced might teach you the importance of boundaries. The heartbreak you endured might show you how to love yourself. The injustice you suffered might inspire you to seek a deeper understanding of God's justice and grace. Pain also teaches you empathy. When you've been hurt, you gain a deeper understanding of the struggles others face. This newfound compassion allows you to connect with people on a profound level, turning your pain into a source of healing for others. What was meant to break you can become the foundation for a life of purpose, one where your experiences inspire and uplift those around you. The lessons in pain are not always immediately apparent. Sometimes it takes months or even years to fully understand the purpose behind your struggles. But trust that every tear you've cried, every sleepless night, and every moment of despair has not been in vain. God is using your pain to mold you, to refine you, and to prepare you for something greater. Instead of running from pain, lean into it. Ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? How can I grow from this experience? When you approach pain with this mindset, it loses its power to control you. It becomes a tool for growth rather than a weapon for destruction. And as you learn the lessons hidden within your pain, you'll find yourself stronger, wiser, and more prepared to face the challenges ahead. Pain may feel like the end, but in truth, it's a beginning, a chance to rebuild, to grow, and to become the person God intended you to be. Embrace the lessons it brings, and trust that even the darkest moments can lead to the brightest transformations. When someone wrongs you deeply, it's tempting to wish for immediate retribution. The desire to see them face the consequences of their actions can consume your thoughts, leaving you restless and burdened. But here's the truth: God's wrath is just, and His justice is far more comprehensive than anything you could orchestrate. When you try to take vengeance into your own hands, you limit justice to your perspective. God, however, sees the entire picture, every motive, every hidden action, and every ripple effect of their wrongdoing. God's wrath is not impulsive or fueled by emotions like human anger. It is deliberate, righteous, and rooted in His unchanging character. He does not punish to inflict pain, but to restore balance, correct wrongs, and uphold the moral fabric of the universe. Those who harm others may believe they've escaped consequences, but they cannot outrun the justice of God. His timing is perfect, His methods precise, and His judgment unerring. Imagine someone planting seeds of harm, cruelty, or deceit. Those seeds do not wither and die unnoticed. They grow, watered by their own actions, until they bear the bitter fruit of accountability. God's wrath is not just about punishment. It is about bringing people to a place of reckoning where they confront the consequences of their choices. It is an act of divine correction, aimed not at destruction but at redemption and restoration. When you trust in God's wrath, you release yourself from the exhausting burden of seeking revenge. You no longer need to plot, worry, or hope for their downfall. You can rest in the assurance that God's justice will prevail in His time and in His way. This trust frees you to focus on your own healing and growth rather than being consumed by the actions of others. God's wrath also serves as a warning. It reminds us of the importance of living righteously, of treating others with kindness and respect, and of aligning our actions with His will. It is not something to be feared by those who strive to live according to His word, but it is a sobering reality for those who choose to harm others without repentance. So, when you're tempted to question why those who hurt you seem to prosper, remember this: God's justice is not confined to human timelines. His wrath, though patient, is inevitable for those who continue on a path of wrongdoing. Trust in His righteousness, knowing that He sees what you cannot and will act in ways that align perfectly with His divine plan. Pain and betrayal have a way of stealing your focus, making it hard to see beyond the hurt inflicted by others. But while their actions may have shaken you, they do not have the power to define you unless you allow them to. Instead of dwelling on what they've done, shift your energy to something far more important: your own growth. The greatest revenge is not to see them suffer, but to rise above their actions and become the best version of yourself. Growth is a choice, and it begins the moment you decide to reclaim your power. This doesn't mean ignoring the pain or pretending it didn't happen. It means using it as fuel to propel yourself forward. The hurt they caused is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of a transformation that will shape you into someone stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Focusing on your growth requires a deliberate effort to shift your mindset. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" start asking, "What can I learn from this? How can I use this experience to better myself?" Every betrayal, every setback, and every heartbreak holds within it a lesson, a chance to reflect, adapt, and emerge stronger. By focusing on these lessons, you turn your pain into a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. Consider this: every moment spent dwelling on their actions is a moment stolen from your own potential. Don't let their wrongdoing keep you stuck in the past. Instead, channel that energy into building your future. Set goals, pursue your passions, and work on becoming the person you were created to be. Growth doesn't happen in the absence of adversity. It happens because of it. The challenges you face are opportunities to expand your capacity for strength, endurance, and wisdom. Focusing on your growth also sends a powerful message to yourself and to those who doubted you. It says, "I will not be defined by what you did to me. I will rise above it." This mindset not only empowers you but also removes the power they once held over your life. You are no longer a victim of their actions, you are the architect of your own destiny. Growth is not just about moving forward, it's about becoming. It's about stepping into the fullness of who you are meant to be, unshackled by the chains of bitterness and anger. As you grow, you'll find that the pain they caused no longer holds the same weight. What once seemed insurmountable becomes a distant memory, a chapter in your story that contributed to your strength, but no longer defines you. So focus on your growth. Let their actions fade into the background as you step boldly into the future God has prepared for you. The best way to overcome their wrongs is not by seeking vengeance, but by becoming everything they never thought you could be. Use your pain as a catalyst for transformation, and watch as your growth becomes the ultimate testament to God's justice and grace. As we bring this message to a close, let's reflect on the profound truth that runs through it all. Nothing escapes the eyes of God. Every pain you've endured, every betrayal you've faced, and every tear you've shed has been seen, noted, and is part of a greater plan. Those who have wronged you may believe they've moved on unscathed, but divine justice is always at work, even when it seems silent. Trust that the same God who holds the stars in place also holds your life in His hands, ensuring that every injustice is balanced in His perfect timing. The choice before you now is not whether justice will come, that is guaranteed, but whether you will allow the pain to shape you or break you. Forgiveness is your path to freedom. Growth is your declaration of strength, and trust in God's justice is your anchor in the storm. Do not waste your precious energy wishing harm on those who hurt you. Instead, invest that energy into becoming the person God has called you to be. Remember, the pain inflicted upon you will not go unanswered. God's wrath is just, His timing is perfect, and His plan for your life is greater than any harm someone could ever do to you. You are not defined by their actions, you are defined by how you rise in their aftermath. And as you focus on your own growth, you'll discover that their actions no longer hold power over you. You'll emerge stronger, wiser, and unshaken, a living testament to the grace and justice of God. As you leave this moment of reflection, hold on to this truth: you are not alone, and your pain is not in vain. God sees, God knows, and God acts. Trust in Him, forgive for your own freedom, and let your life become a beacon of strength and resilience. The wrongs done to you may have left scars, but those scars are proof of your survival and your strength. Walk forward in faith, knowing that justice is not just a possibility, it is a promise. So rise, not in anger, but in purpose. Grow not in bitterness, but in strength. And trust, not in man's justice, but in God's. Your story is far from over, and the best chapters are still ahead. Stay strong, stay faithful, and let your life be a testimony to the power of divine justice.